So with that, we will pick up with you all in Lonelywood. The nights have been spent in Nimsy, the town speaker's house, in her attic, where heat rises up there, so you keep yourselves a good bit warmer than trying to, for instance, sleep in the elements. But other than that, you all are more than welcome to go about your days. If you would like to do anything else in Lonelywood, you can. Otherwise, what would you like to do?
Okay, so guys, we waited a week so the full moon passed by, so you wouldn't get any risk of getting the lottery of the cities that kill people, sacrifice people. So now we have to decide where we're going, what we're going to do.
Those rumors of a potential ale shortage are intriguing. If we could recover a shipment, we could profit handsomely.
Is an option.
Yeah, that was in good from my notes. That was in Goodmead. And the first thing we heard was that a giant killed a tavern keeper and ran off with the ale. And then it became maybe not a giant, maybe just a big humanoid. And the idea was that ale will grow increasingly scarce. And then I don't know why I wrote this down, but I wrote down the word honeymead. I have no idea why.
I like honeymead. Anyway, that's an option. But that means that we have to travel to Goodmead. That's down south from the map we have. It's not an easy way to go. We have to walk a lot to get to Goodmead to get any clue to start off quest. So that's our option. We have anything closer?
Well, we were thinking. I think last week we talked about maybe going to Bryn Shander or Bryn Shandar, which lost a shipment of something. The dwarves from the Dwarven Valley are willing to pay a healthy bounty for it. That was my other note. Something I was thinking about this week was that the people of this town of Lonelywood, um, carved this scrimshaw, and the people of Tourmaline have the gems. And so if we go to Bryn Shandar, which I think is the big city, I was thinking maybe we could find someone, a merchant who we could escort and just maybe get paid a couple bucks just to escort them and provide security. Um, or if we were really lucky, maybe try to find someone who would give us some items on commission that we could sell ourselves in Bryn Shandar.
Interesting idea. Play the merchants for a while.
So maybe we could go to the Happy Scrimshander and talk to Hersky and just ask her if she regularly tries to get her wares to Bryn Shandar, and if so, is there any, is she interested in any kind of escort or something like that?
We could do that. What do you think, Sandoval?
Um, sure. Either if she needs an escort or if there's anything she needs delivered or needs that we can pick up for her in Bryn Shander if we're going in that direction anyways.
I have no problem with this idea. Let's talk to her then. As always,
Are we
Gerard.
sorry, go ahead. Didn't mean to cut you off.
As always, I think Gerard should be do the talking. He's better with people than I am. And
Well, uh, what's your charisma, Sandraval?
Quite high.
Oh,
And that's
well,
Sanderville talking.
oh, right. Okay, well, maybe you should do the selling.
Yeah,
Of course. Are we certain we don't want to go after this this moose that's apparently causing trouble? I imagine
I
its antlers would be a excellent source for scrimshaw material.
The moose basically intimidated us last week just because there were only 3 of us and we're pretty low level. We tried to kind of fall in with a hunting party for the moose, but that just didn't work out. People were too leery of us.
Let me
But
stop you all guys here for a moment. Please remember that I want you guys to be adventurers. I do not want you guys to play merchants. One of the few rules that I have for my games that I will take player agency away from you from is I want you to be adventurers, and I want you to have a reason to adventure with this party. Adventure. If you guys go to the Scrimshander lady, you're going to find her telling you no. She's already got somebody who does this for her. Something of that sort. You guys should go on adventures. This is a combat game. There are social interactions in this game. But go on adventures. Do crazy stuff. Risk your lives. Play the game.
fair enough.
Like, you can be intimidated by the moose and move on from the moose. But on some level, like, as Meta is asking Sandoval, what's your charisma? You guys should know that all of these quests are designed for low-level players. You might get killed, but you also might win an epic victory and lose somebody. You might not anybody get killed. Let the dice determine it, but you can do these quests.
well, the option to us is to go to Branchadar to see what you can find in the biggest city of Icewind, or we try to find this moose that people are so scared that they don't want to talk about. That's all. I think that's the 2 options we have.
I mean, we're already here. We might as well try and deal with the moose. No, how much
Yeah,
trouble could a moose be? Although a moose did bite my sister once.
yeah. I think it's
Excellent
not.
reference.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if anyone was going to get that.
I didn't. I'm sorry. I probably lost the.
Oh, it's from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. The opening credits.
Right. I remember. Wow. I have to watch it again. Listen. So we could try to enter in the forest and look for tracks. I think we have a chance, but we don't know what kind of moose. Uh, if I remember my notes, this moose isn't a regular moose because he was ambushing the hunters.
I certainly think we'll have a better chance than local hunters. Get a few tricks up our sleeves.
Yeah,
This
we
is
have
again Sandoval talking.
experience. I have with war, not with creatures. But if you guys are up for it, we could try to find some lead to find this moose in the forest.
Yep, I'm up for it.
So, Thunderball, are you up for it? Because I have no problem with trying to fight a moose.
Absolutely.
So okay, so we leave the town speaker house and we get inside this forest, start looking for tracks that may direct us to the moose.
I have a game.
Sandoval does.
I,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just have a question about a spell I have prepared. It's command, and it says you speak a one-word command to a creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or follow the command on its next turn. The spell has no effect if the target is undead, if it doesn't understand your language. Oh, if it doesn't understand your language. There you go. That I think answers my question. So it wouldn't work on beasts, right?
Probably not.
I think you got your answer there.
It's a creature but doesn't speak our language. We don't know even if he's undead or not. We don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, if we decided this at night and left the next morning, I'd be able to swap in, some useful spells. So the command spell doesn't seem like it'd be a useful one for me.
I think it's perfectly functional for you all to have had this conversation the night before while you were going without food, I think.
Yeah. So I think I have no need to prepare spells, but if you guys need to prepare some spell that you think gonna work here, I'm not very good in magic, but I can tell you that the most damage we can do is better than anything else. Okay.
I'm good. I was going to say, Sandoval, considering that they've heard the rumors that the moose has been attacking loggers as they head into the wood, he's going to keep an eye out for any signs of recent logging activity or any signs of any loggers in the woods in case they find any loggers. Maybe they can ask if there's been any recent sightings.
I mean, you guys can go into the woods. Are you looking for loggers or are you looking for a moose? Because you can do a survival check to test either of those.
Well, we can try to find some loggers and see if they need help. If they didn't, we'll start looking for the moose. What do you guys think?
Why don't we just start looking for the moose?
Fine by me.
Oh, and also, wait, the other thing is there's that kind of elemental. Okay, never mind. Let's go find the moose.
O Chwingas, the
No, no,
Chwingas.
no.
I was just
That's a
wondering.
quest that you guys have.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering about that elemental. Do we know anything about their environment or where they might be? Because I remember, Brule, you on our way here, on our way to Lonelywood, you pulled out the lantern, and so I was wondering if we knew that they were maybe in the woods or something.
What we have of information for was given for the quest giver, the lady, which a name I don't remember. She said the Chwingas like to be in the city, but I'm not sure she's all right in the head.
In the city.
Yeah, that's what she said. I don't
Okay.
have any more information. I'm gonna
They like
use
to
the
they're like small creatures. They like to steal things from like townsfolk, like little, like, kind of, they're mischievous more than dangerous is what we were told.
listen.
Okay. So I
Zell is
guess
on the channel. Zell is here.
Oh, it looks like he's muted.
He's joining us. It's all good, guys.
Great, we have 4 people. Maybe we have a chance.
Yeah, if you guys hang out in towns and you do nothing for 5 days, I assure you, you are never going to have a chance. If you don't play, you don't have a chance.
Welcome, Zell. Let's get to find the moose then. We have numbers now. Maybe we'll get lucky. So,
Hey guys, I'm here.
so we
Hello,
are
Zell.
we are deciding here that we're gonna get to the moose we are encouraged to let's find the booze and help the town. So, if there's no anything else, I'd like to start tracking the moose.
Are you pulling out the lamp to check for Chwingas?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to discount Gerhard thinking about them, because that's one of the things that I want you guys to do is actually try to approach the things that you know that you have.
Yes. So I'm gonna use the lantern to find.
Just give me a second. I'm literally looking for that section. What are you mage handing?
Sorry, I hit the wrong one. I meant to do mage armor. Sorry.
Gotcha.
Just figured as we are going into the woods, he would cast it on himself. So I marked off that spell slot.
Is that Dragon Age Origins soundtrack?
What was that question?
Is that Dragon Age game soundtrack?
I have no clue.
Oh yes, it is. So I am gonna ask, but I'm sure it's a game of the Bioware.
Let me. Who's got the lantern?
I have.
Roll a d20. When you light the lantern, the fire is burning green.
That's
They're close. At least one.
problem in the forest. Let's look around.
Well, I thought they were kind of city. Do we know if the lantern gets brighter or anything when we get closer to them?
It's just a
Change
general
color.
area.
Change color. That's all we have.
All you know is that they are within 300 feet of you.
Oh wow. Okay, great. Well, where are we when this happens?
I think we are at the town speaker house, huh?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty acceptable for you to be essentially heading out of the town speaker's home, out of Nimsy's home.
Okay. Do we know anything of about what they look like or anything like that?
No idea. All we know is they are small, and that's it. We have no idea if what kind of if they are dangerous or not. We know they are small and live around cities, and they need. She wants a one of them alive.
Okay, this is great. And that circle is about the range that we're expecting to find them?
I think I guessed pretty much on point. That looks like a 300-foot diameter. Or not diameter, radius.
They probably be here. I think they could be here.
Okay. Let's go into these woods behind the speaker's house then.
It's only a guess. They could be here or could be here. I don't know. I'm thinking that if we didn't see them on the roads walking around, they probably are a bit more hidden. So Brew decides to go in the forest and calls his friends to go to him to find this the creatures.
Sandravel's going to, as the lantern turns green, he's going to, and Brule starts heading into the woods. He's gonna kind of like pause and stand still for a moment, and just kind of sort of silently kind of call out, trying to see if there's anything within his range that he can make a connection with that might be able to speak with him.
Wait, what are you trying to do right now?
Use his psi crystal. Use the crystal that he recovered the power of that. It's got I think 120 feet range.
Give me a second to take another look at that. I want to make sure how familiar you need to be with it.
Sure. I think we had like briefly discussed a couple weeks ago, but I don't think we had definitively decided kind of what the limitations were. So
That's right. We did it.
While he's checking that, what's our brief on this creature? Are we supposed to capture it, or want it dead or alive, or?
It's try to capture, to bring to the first city we went. No, my head is.
Bremen, yeah, she has no interest in a dead one.
Bremen,
She definitely
right.
wants it. Definitely wants it alive.
That's right. That's
She
right.
she from what we know, that she thinks they're real, but like she says a lot of other people don't, and she's like trying to study them, and so she's trying to prove that they exist, I think, and so she wants essentially a live specimen.
And they're small. Do we have like a sack or something that we could put it in if we do capture one?
We don't have anything like that, but
We have backpacks.
we could try to find something useful. But I don't think we have anything you could trap inside.
We could probably just carry it back to the speaker's house and
we have rope. We can tie it up.
DM, could I, since I have some survival experience, could I try to build some kind of cage with wood or something like that?
I mean, you can certainly try it. You guys are searching after a creature that none of you believe exists. So the idea that you guys know how to keep something like this trapped is probably a little bit far-fetched at present.
So I'm gonna try to build some.
You guys remember that a crazy lady told you to go after these things, and not a one of you believed her for a second that she was anything but insane. You just took her lantern and you kind of like pushed her away. Sandraval, do a... I think roll a D100 for me. As you step out of Nimsey's and Brule lights the lantern, seeing the green flame makes you curious enough that you give yourself away for a moment to sense what there is to be sensed. And among the mines that you are close to the south of you, you feel that there is a woman there who seems to be fitting what you guys expect from a problematic creature that seems to thieve from people, taking mundane things. She seems to kind of be going through all of the emotions of what you would expect somebody suffering from how Chwingas were explained to you by Danica. And you feel like perhaps going to find her is a solid place to go. You don't yet sense a creature that is not a humanoid, which is what you were expecting. But you can head to the south and you're looking for a woman named Elva. And she's kind of about 115 feet away from you. and I think that would point you pretty much perfectly to the house that's just southeast of Nimsy.
Okay, so Sandoval will open his eyes after sort of this these few moments, and he'll call out to Brule as he's heading into the woods, like, there's believe there might be someone we should speak to, some of the people around, see if they're missing anything. Perhaps this we can start with this house over here, and he'll point towards the home where he sensed Elva's presence. Trying to be a little bit cagey about it, but
can I try to build some kind of cage? I don't know what it is, but I could try to build some kind of cage. We don't know exactly what we're looking for, but it's better than try to grab it with 4 hands and carry around.
You most certainly can. What are you going to use?
Wood. A rope.
So you're going to go in the forest and chop down a tree?
If I need it, of course.
All right, so you can leave the party for a while you are collecting wood and constructing a cage. What is everybody else doing?
I'm probably going to follow Sandoval since he seems to have the clearest sense of where this thing is.
And I think I'll go with Brawl. I've proficiency in survival as well, so I could probably help him gather materials for the cage, or maybe bait, or to help him reinforce it.
Gotcha. So, Sandoval, Gerhard, what are you doing as you walk down to the southeast and you make your way to this house?
So Sandoval will he'll sort of step up confidently to the front door, and he'll give it.
Before he steps up to the front door, Gerhard puts his hand on his shoulder and says, "Should I maybe go around back, or do you think we should both go in?"
Oh, I don't sense any trouble. I think we'll be fine.
Okay.
And then he'll proceed to sort of give a firm knock on the door.
Roll a wisdom check for me, Sandoval. When you go to knock on the door, Gerhard, you're going to see that right before Sandoval knocks, somebody is going to open the door, and Alva is going to look at you and say, "Hello. Are you? Come in. Yes, they've been opening my door, and they've stolen cutlery. I don't know who it is. I've not seen anything. It's been happening for days now. They just seem to come by, and it's so drafty. Can you? Yes, please. I don't know where they've been going. The back door. That's the one they open." And just so you know, Sandoval, on some level, you've already had a conversation with her. Simply thinking about her, you've shared a lot of the information that you've already been gathering.
Okay. Calm down. We're here to help. And Cinderella's going to glance towards Gerhard, and he'll sort of motion towards the back door.
Yeah, Gerhard.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I follow along.
As you approach the back door, as she takes you towards her back door, you just see that this door is completely boarded up. And there's like 8 different pieces of wood that's crossed the actual mantle. And she's got it nailed into the wall. And she's just, I can't keep it closed. Constantly, I come back here, I feel a draft while I'm sitting in my chair, and she points over to her chair, and I can't keep warm because the door is always open. And then she pulls, she goes like over to her kitchen and she like holds out this empty thing of cutlery, and there's nothing left in it. She's like, I had a full set for entertaining 4 people, but I have nothing now. I have a knife somewhere here. I'm gonna have to find it now or use my hatchet. And she's just kind of rambling on, but you can open the back door. It's meant to be nailed shut, but it is still free right now. And you can step out back, and you two can roll a survival check for me.
And Sandoval was going to ask her before they stepped out, just sort of as one question. He's going to ask her, do they seem to come around the same time every day, or is it just all hours?
It's constantly. I feel I've woken up most nights cold, but I don't. I think it's just all the time. Whatever it is, they seem to like my house, and they've found their way in. So stepping out back. Wow, those are really bad rolls, Gerhard. Stepping out back, you look around in the snow. There's not much going on out here, but it almost looks like there's just a little bit of a breeze that rolled just kind of like a pinky-sized piece of snow across the top of the snow. And you just kind of look at it and you're just thinking to yourself, there's no way that's tracks. But from what you can see back here, those might be the tracks that you're looking for.
We should follow them, Gerhard.
Yes.
When we find this thing, let me do the talking.
Of course.
I know magic. I'll know how to talk to these things.
So let me have a perception and... do you have guidance, Gerhard?
Guidance, I don't.
Cantrip.
I do not.
Gotcha. Yeah, so let me get a perception from you, Sandoval.
Not all day today.
And I think you would probably have like noticed over the past few days, like Sandoval is definitely like he's never been. He's always been kind of had like a kind of a cocky or arrogant demeanor, but it seems to be like have stepped up a notch over the last few days.
So let me have you roll another D100, Sandoval. Solid. So you track whatever this is in the snow until all of a sudden you're inside of these conifers. And you're inside of the trees, a good bit behind Elva's house. But you don't know where you're going. You're definitely just kind of walking around in the snow, and you've actually seen little bits of snow kind of bumped into the wind, and as it rolls across kind of the like slightly melted top of the snow, it makes very similar prints, as if it's just like a little bit of rolling wind. That's all it takes to make these prints that you thought you were following. But then you get a sensation that's not a humanoid. And you feel it to the north of you. And it's weak right now, so you're probably getting close, but you're still far enough away from it. But you can follow that. And you can start to follow it to the north. And the more you kind of delve into this creature, it seems to be playing a game. As if it's talking to one of its friends, perhaps. And it's offering them tea. And then you hear clinking and clanking. Could be knives on china, perhaps. And then you hear like, this tea's delicious. And it just seems very weird. But it's getting stronger. And whatever this thing is getting closer. But it's still not the feeling of anyone else you've come close to in these last, what is it, 6 days, I think now? Let me get a perception from Zell and Brule.
The opposite.
So you guys are just out there collecting bits of wood that's fallen, chopping down little branches, starting to prepare to make some sort of a cage. And you see as Sandraval, with an incredible intensity, is just walking past you all in the forest. At present, Tomos doesn't even seem to notice you. He's probably about 60 or 80 feet to the east of you all, and right behind him, Gerhard is following with some sense of like the same intensity, almost as if he understands perhaps what Sandraval is moving towards. But they are walking past you all as they seem to be moving deeper into the forest.
And because I feel like they're following something, so I would like go up to them, kind of like call out to them, but not loud enough to really make an echo. Just go up to them and then call out to them to get their attention.
Roll a performance. Sandraval, roll a perception at disadvantage, and Gerhard, roll a perception. Yeah, they're not going to hear you with it, too. You need an 18 out of Gerhard.
There it is.
Crushing.
I think he got it.
So as you go to yell out for them, the wind just picks up into a gust, and you actually get that sensation of your voice is almost like stolen from you by the wind, as it just like a gale force just kind of blows into you, and almost in a weird sense of like when you eerily feel like somebody is looking at me, Gerhard starts to turn around, and in the last moment, Gerhard sees Zell kind of looking out, and you can see his mouth as he's yelling, but you don't actually hear it. It's purely that like awkward sensation of we're being watched right now. But what would you like to do, Gerhard?
Gerhard puts his finger to his lips and beckons with his hands for them to approach. And if they do approach, before they get really right on top of them, he's gonna point in the direction that Sandraval is walking. So in other words, he's trying to make that sort of gesture of, you guys come here, and we'll spread out and be in a bit of a line with where Sandraval is.
So roll a performance check. I would say passive wisdom wise, you guys are able to figure out he's trying to get you to come to him. But Gerhard's pretty quick in trying to mimic what he's trying to get past, as Sandraval is leaving him behind, and he kind of rushes back off.
Rush after him.
Rush
Yeah.
after him?
Yeah.
No, there's no point of they find the whatever they're looking if there's no place to put it.
Wait, are you
Um,
rushing after them, or are you staying behind?
No, I'm staying behind because I'm going to build the damn cage.
Alright. And Zell, you're going after him.
yes.
Gotcha. So, Sandraval, after a few moments of walking through the snow, you come upon a little clearing, and you see two forks and a knife are moving, and there's 3 plates that are just sitting in the snow, and a single teacup on one of the plates. But all of the silverware is standing up, and you know these creatures are right in front of you. You sense 3 of these creatures right here. What would you like to do?
So Cinderella's he'll sort of take all this in, and he's going to try and like call out friendly, like we join you for tea. In the direction of the silverware cutlery.
Let's see. Zell, Gerhard, and Sandraval. So as you say this, you see as 3 different creatures kind of pop up in front of you, and you see as one of them is taking the fork and shoveling it towards its face, like a lot of people use a spoon to shovel food into their face. And then you see another one is using the fork, and they are cutting something inside of the teacup. And then another one is holding the plate, and it's dipping it towards its face like it's drinking. And you hear inside of your mind as one of these things kind of responds. Let's see. Drink! Drink! Yes! Join us!
Was that voice
Sandoval
in
will.
all heads?
Zell, what were you thinking there?
So was that voice in all our heads or only Sandravo?
Nope. Only Sandraval. What are you doing, Sandraval?
So Cinderella will sort of mentally he'll call out, he'll say, thank you to the voice, and then aloud he's going to say, is it all right if we speak aloud? My friends are not as sophisticated as I am. They may not be able to understand your messages.
You hear in your head, still just Sandraval. No!
Fair enough. Just thought I'd ask, and this would be mentally again, and then he's going to sort of turn back towards the others and kind of give a little shrug and be like, they've invited us for tea. They've accepted my request. So
One of them is now drinking from its fork, and the teacup is sitting on the snow. We don't have language. This is you.
Are they visible to Gerhard and Zell, or only to
Yep,
Sandoval?
they're all visible right now.
So Sandoval he'll start to approach towards the so the teacup that's now sitting empty, does that kind of look like they've left it for him, or
Are you thinking about the teacup?
I guess, yeah.
One of them is going to pick it up as it sets down its knife and move closer to you and reach it forward to you. Drink.
Sandoval, he'll take the teacup, he'll take a glance inside it, see what if anything is in the teacup.
Nothing at all.
He'll take a kind of a sniff to try to see if he smells anything.
Nothing at all.
Gerhard starts moving. So where are we? Where are Gerhard and Zell?
You guys can place yourselves on the map, but at some level you've kind of walked in from the south into this little clearing where these creatures are. So if I place you all here, I would say on some level you are approaching roughly like that, but it is up to you all where you would like to be.
Okay, Gerhard, slowly moves.
Yeah, so like right there. Yeah.
So I guess sort of as they're moving, Sandoval, he'll, I guess, pantomime taking a sip of the tea, and then he'll kind of like mentally he'll speak. He'll say like, these are sort of gesturing to the knives and the forks. These are very nice pieces. Where did you get them?
They kind of tilt their heads at you. You see as their faces kind of like are just shifting as they're thinking, and they almost turn like clocks. Before one of them just kind of points down towards the south. And pretty quickly you can recognize they're pointing towards Elva's.
Sandoval he'll nod. He'll take another sort of fake sip of tea, and then he'll ask so what should I call you? I'm Sandoval.
One of them is going to kind of like move up towards you and jump up onto your shoulder. What would you call us?
Um, I've heard of the name Chwingas before.
We are Chwingas. And as it says that, it's going to touch you and make a perception check for me. Where it touches you, it feels cold for a moment, And your body feels warm. Your whole body, not just where it touched you.
Like pleasantly warm or uncomfortably or...
This is the first time that deep down in the core of your body, your bones, your marrow, feels warm. You've not felt this since you left Luskin, however many months ago.
Okay, so Sandoval will kind of like, as the sort of the warmth suffuses through his body, he's going to kind of like going to close his eyes for a moment. Kind of, it's almost like he's forgotten what this actually feels like. And then he'll kind of open his eyes back up again, and like he'll sort of mentally he'll go, "Thank you, I needed that."
If you can't read that, I just sent you something over Discord. If you can't read it, I can get you a version that's not like black type. It's just so happens the one I saved is all black script.
Oh no, when I opened it up wider, I can see it. I can read it. So
I feel like let me get a either deception or just straight wisdom from Zell and Gerhard. Are you all flanking these creatures hostilely? Are you just being skeptical? What are you two doing right now?
I'm being skeptical, and I was actually just thinking about throwing a bane on the creatures because I don't trust the
So yours is
situation.
definitely a deception. And Zell, what are you doing right now? Are you there right now, Zell?
Yeah.
What are you doing right now? Are you being
Um,
hostile right now as you flank around them? I think I want a deception from you.
no, I'm not being hostile. I'm more so watching, but I would like to have my crossbow at the ready.
Yeah, deception then.
Okay.
If you're doing anything that's hostile, like having a weapon already, that's a deception check.
Okay.
So after this one touches you, Sandoval, you're just going to see as they disappear. Roll the D100 for me, Sandoval. You don't even feel them near you any longer. They seem to be gone, far enough away from you at least that you can't sense their minds.
Sandoval's gonna blink and kind of look around, not trying to see him. See they've disappeared, and then he's going to look to, I guess, look and trying to see what the others are doing. And would he have noticed? Now he was in conversation. He would have noticed what they were doing.
You could do like a perception, but I feel like this is all kind of new enough to you that I think it's right to say that you're not noticing right now.
Yeah, I'd have kind of like tunnel vision. I'd just be focused completely on the Chwingas or whatever they are.
So at very least, you now know that they are not near to you, and you can start to approach what you all would like to do at present here.
So Sandoval he'll return towards the others, towards Zell and Gerhard, and I think you scared them off. We're having a nice conversation.
Well, before I heard what you said about Sandoval not sensing them, Gerhard was actually going to launch himself onto into the snow in an attempt to grab them. So I guess he mostly picks himself up and dusts himself off and says, I guess we did scare them off.
Way to go. You caught some snow with your face. Let's get cleaned up.
You don't sense them anymore. I mean, just to clarify, just to sort of let Zell know what's going on.
No. As I said, I fear you may have scared them off. They seemed friendly enough.
To the point where I don't really know how just it would be to tackle them and throw them in a sack to bring back to the crazy woman.
Well, I was thinking of just telling them that we had a friend who would like to meet them and see if one of them would be interested.
Yeah, I think if
But
we
I
find
think
them again.
that's-
Yeah, Gerhard
No.
nods.
So anyone gonna
They may
fill me in?
not. Sorry, Zell, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Anyone gonna fill me in from, well, a bit out of character, but like from Zell's perspective, Sandoval was just drinking an empty teacup in the middle of the snow, talking with no one.
Well, you saw the creatures, right? You just couldn't hear them.
Yeah,
When
the
you
creatures
reached
are
out to them.
visible. They
I'm
just
sorry, I
have
thought
no
they were
language.
invisible. I apologize.
Yep, all that is randomly possible because of the crystal, which none of you necessarily really know that he has. But that's the first time you would gain a sense that he has some sort of new power.
Yeah, and that would be the crystal sort of qualities is something he would be keeping to himself for now, because he wouldn't have shared it with anybody. I mean, they guess they know he has the crystal because presumably they were all there in the case and we got it, but he's been keeping it sort of in a. Does it have to be out for it to actually work, or no? Just on his person?
No, now that you're attuned to it, that just works.
Okay, yeah. So he'd be keeping it like inside a kind of a thick cloth sort of pouch on his belt.
Yeah, that is what would need to be out, is if you've got it wrapped up, the light is consumed. But if you hold it out, it's always shining that actual light.
Right. Yeah. So I'm kind of thinking like he would keep it hidden to kind of hide the light. As long as it still works in that case. So
Brule, let me have you make a survival check.
Let you lose my inspiration.
You can roll another d20. So trying to make a cage with the first set of wood and everything that you have, you build something that resembles a cage. But as you go to like pick it up and like move along, the knots were just kind of poorly done, and you can feel how shaky it is. Your confidence in it is probably lacking, but you've spent a good bit of time already doing this. You watch Zell run off, so you can kind of continue back on with the cage at that point.
So I finished a cage that's not very good. I could try to do another one, or what do I think I would like to make a decent cage.
Sorry, Mara. Quick question: when the creatures disappeared, did they take the cutlery with them?
No, they just disappeared. All of that is still sitting there.
Okay.
Pick that up.
You might as well return it to Alva. Don't know how long she'll be able to hold on to it. But hopefully we haven't scared them off for good. Very interesting creatures, whatever they are. And perhaps that woman's not quite as crazy as I suspected at first. Where's Brule, by the way? Sandoval asked this while he's seeing that it's just Zell and Gerhardt in the clearing with him.
When you think that, you sense his mind, and you can sense he's about 105 feet to the southeast of you, southwest of you.
He can hear my thoughts because Bruce is thinking, "Damn, Cage, I can do it. I can do it better."
When you think about him and you find his mind, you start to hear his thoughts, and he's cursing the cage.
Sandoval will look towards Gerhardt and Zell, and perhaps we should go get our friend.
I agree. We can go back. He's not too far from here.
I don't think those creatures are likely to be back anytime soon, so we might as well resume our search for this moose.
Let me get an arcana from you, Sandoval. And my bad, Zell. What were you thinking?
Oh no, that's fine.
You're starting to gain the sensation that this stone has very similar properties to one of the other planes of existence. And having pulled it out of the aberration, you have a pretty good sense that somehow, some way, this is linked to, and my mind is completely blank right now, the ethereal plane, where in general, all you have to do is think about something, and it happens. And this stone is showing you it's a lot of how this is working. When you're thinking about these people, your mind goes to them. When you're thinking about the Chwingas, your mind goes to them. And you're learning more and more about them. Yeah, I think that's kind of one of the things you're going to be kind of sensing and getting used to as you start to do things a little bit more, where it's something that you will both have to come to a sense of protecting yourself against being too open, as just as much as how useful it will be to be open.
Okay, but for now, I still don't. I don't sense them, right?
Yeah, I think you'll have a pretty good sense that they literally fleed from that situation.
Right. Okay.
And it wasn't because of what you were doing.
Oh, okay. As they fled, sorry, did I get any sense of what, if anything, like thoughts they had, or why they fled? Like, were they scared in particular of anything that I could sense? Apologies if you already mentioned. My headphones cut out for a couple seconds back, right around that time.
No, I don't think so. Because I think it would have been in about the same moment that the one was kind of blessing you when you got that gift from it, and then they disappeared in unison. So I don't think you really gained any other sense because their minds left your presence in an instant.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so Sandoval will just he'll suggest that the we go get Brule and we kind of continue on our start trying to track this moose.
Gerhard picks up the cutlery and teacups and so forth and says, that sounds good. Let's return these to Elva at the very least.
Yes, of course, of course.
So as you approach back towards, you'll be able to grab up Brule on your way towards Elva's. And as you get closer towards Elva's, um, you'll kind of hear in your mind as she's cursing the back door and just kind of like frustratingly cold. Um, but you can approach those two things. You can get to Brule first, and then to Elvis afterwards, depending on what Brule would like to do here.
He's still trying to build the cage. He's getting very frustrated.
I'm not sure a cage will hold these things.
He doesn't know that.
Oh, I was saying that if we catch up with you.
Bru looks at the Gerard. How you know that? Do you tend to carry these things with your hands? Do you think they are coming peacefully with us? As anything like that? We better be prepared. I'm always prepared.
We believe we found them. They seemed friendly enough.
Oh, really?
They
I was here trying to build a cage, and you guys already found it. You get the one?
sadly I was going to say ran off, but that's not exactly right. They seem to something, and then Cinderella will kind of like give like a sideways glance to the others and be like, or someone scared them off.
Nice. So at least you know they exist for sure. So next time maybe trap to get them. I don't think you're saying they disappear. They could be looking at us right now. Bru looks around. They are here.
I
I
don't think so.
I yes, I don't sense anything.
And why do you sense anything? Do you
Uh,
sense? Do you see? Do you think you are seeing them? Okay,
intuition. Yeah,
intuition. Okay, you're a wizard. You probably have some.
indeed.
So I made this poor thing, and he shows the makeshift cage. I was trying to make another one, but I think I'm gonna hold off to that. I before I break this one. We are going to find the moose, or are we going to what do you guys want to do?
Well, we need to return these things to Elva, but then I suppose we can go find the moose.
Fine. Brew grabs the cage and try to use the rope to attach to his backpack. Let's go.
Zell and Brule, let me get survivals from you.
I have advantage on survival, so
Isn't that only when you're in your form?
no. I have proficiency in it.
Proficiency's already added for you.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure most of your character gaining advantage is when you expend resources for those things. So you all spend the next hour searching around for moose tracks.
Before we do that though, I wanted to go back to Elva's and see and return her stuff, but also to see if the door was newly reopened, like if the Chwingas had sort of immediately gone back to her house and stolen more stuff.
When you get back to her house, she's nailing the door shut again. But kind of going through things as you return everything to her, it doesn't seem like they've come back.
Okay. I mean, yeah, let's go find the moose, but I imagine they're going to come back and steal from her again. So maybe Sandoval could give it another talking to, and we'll just try to maybe convince them to come along with us rather than grab them, because I mean, they just disappeared like nothing, so I don't see how we're ever going to capture them.
I'll keep my ears and eyes open in case they should return.
So you can pick up the moose tracks and start to follow them. Let me have you roll a d6, Brule.
What? I'm sorry, I lost it. What?
Roll a d6 for me. So as you all start to proceed further and further to the east, deeper and deeper into the Lonelywood, you follow the moose tracks for quite some ways. The weather seems to be kind of stable at a light wind. It's only about 20-25 miles an hour. It's only probably about negative 45 degrees, so it's feeling pretty warm for most of you. Things are looking pretty good as far as searching goes at present. The weather looks like it's on your side. Going about things, nothing really seems to be happening while you're looking for these moose tracks. Perhaps you are chasing it well out of the way, and things are just kind of the long process of seeing where the moose is actually going. And then after a while, you start to see something else. A large creature up ahead. Brown fur. It's quite large. And it's looking towards you all. Let me get a perception from everybody. When Brule stops you all at the first signs of this creature that's crossing the moose's tracks, everybody very quickly makes out this creature's silhouette, as this is a brown bear. It's about 200, maybe less, feet ahead of you. And you can see it kind of passing between trees, as it seems to be, at least for now, following a pretty similar line to the moose tracks. What would you all like to do?
Bro raise his hand and say, "Quiet. We have company. Let's him go away. He didn't see us yet. Let's be quiet."
Do you think it's tracking the moose itself?
I don't know, but it's probably following these tracks. Are going somewhere, and could be a water source, could be a food source. We don't know. Uh, Probably the moose is walking towards water. You know, every animal wants water. Let's wait for a second. Make sure the bear doesn't see us, so we don't need to deal with the bear right now. I think it's enough problems already.
Sounds good to everybody? Let the bear move on?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you take a few moments, and are you keeping your distance, or are you guys just gonna let some time pass and then start tracking the moose again?
I think we should wait for a moment until the bear is gone before we start our tracking.
Gotcha. So yeah, after you all wait a few moments, let a few minutes pass, you start to move back along the moose's tracks. And as you get up to about the same spot, look over the bear's tracks. Zell, Brule, let me get a survival from you. As you look over the tracks, you see about the point where it was when you got here. It seemed to kind of shuffle its feet as if it stopped at the same moment. And then it started to move forward again after a while, and you can see a little bit more of the snow is fallen into the footprints. Both coming like into the snow and coming out of the snow, like at the back and at the front of the snow, that it seems to have maybe picked up its pace as it started to move away from you all. Gives you a pretty good idea that the bear was not looking for you. And you can continue forward moving along both sets of tracks for about 200 feet before the bear seems to move off to the north, and it seems to be leaving the moose's tracks. But if you all are ready to continue after the moose, you kind of move back along that trail.
I think he's safe. I think the bear is gone. Look, as the tracking going this way, and the moose is going this way. Let's follow this one. Bruce points at the tracking this no.
Gerhard, let me have you roll a d20. As you all continue on up the along the path of the moose, probably about 30-45 minutes later, you come across a few people who are out in the woods collecting wood, and they are chopping down some of the old hardwoods around in this area. And Gerhard, you recognize one of these men as Eris, the gentleman who was ill about 3 days ago. And they kind of, it's that same like weird sensation where you just, I feel like I'm being watched. And he kind of looks up right around the same time that you notice him. And Eris locks eyes with you and kind of waves off to you, and just yells a hello out to you.
Gerhard raises his hand and smiles. I mean, are they close? I mean, he said hello, so Gerhard says hello, Eris. Good to see that you're feeling better.
So yeah, they are some distance away, but like when you kind of yell that off to him, you see him kind of like motion to the other guy on the saw with him, and they take a break. Like, and some of them like go to their water bottles, and he'll start walking off in the snow towards you all. And once he kind of arrives at your little party, he just kind of like looks over everybody. Um, Hello, Gerhardt. It's wonderful to see you. Who are your friends?
Oh, well, let me introduce you to Brule and Sandraval and Zell.
And he'll just offer his hand to each of you all as he responds like in kind. Brule, pleasure to meet you. Eris. Sandraval, pleasure to meet you. Eris. Zell, pleasure to meet you. Eris. What are you all doing out here?
We are, please, our friend here, Sandoval, gonna explain.
Sandoval he'll sort of motion to Gerhardt, since Gerhardt knows him. He'll defer to him for this.
You talk. No, you talk. No, you talk.
Well, we thought we'd see if there was something we could do about this moose that we've heard so much trouble about. We've seen some signs of the moose, not far from here. Have you seen any signs of him lately? We saw a brown bear a while back, but I think that was an hour or so ago, so I don't think it's of concern.
We've been at work all morning without much signs of anything happening. Everything's been pleasant. You all heard about Nimsy's reward?
Reward? No, actually, we hadn't heard of a reward. I don't recall.
Bruce look reward? Reward. All right.
You're out here going after the moose, and you didn't hear about the reward?
Oh, we'll gladly accept any reward, but as we've tried to explain, we're really in it for. We're most interested in helping good people go about their work.
And I imagine those antlers would make a fine trophy.
That too.
A bit of moose meat wouldn't be. Probably would hit the spot. Sorry.
I think anybody who would be able to take those antlers would be quite pleased. But yes, the food would. It would be delightful to have anything that is not knucklehead trout. And he's just gonna like slap his hand in Gerhardt's back, and she's offered a reward of 100 gold to any of us who is able to take the moose down. Don't let her pay you a coin less.
Blue raises his hands. You bet we won't.
Gerhard chuckles.
Actually, now I'm kind of getting a taste for moose meat.
Well, thank you for the tip, Eris.
Thank you for doing everything that you can. think it was you. I like to think it was you. Ah, that was a dark place. But I have work to do when the weather is fine. Please, best of hunting for you. Be safe, but be successful.
Be safe, my friend. Again, it's wonderful to see you back on your feet. Blessings of Saloon upon you.
And he'll look up to the dark sky. Blessings on us all.
Brew starts to look around for tracks.
Yeah, you guys are still on the tracks, so he will leave you all behind. Continuing on for another good ways. You all move kind of back in a big loop following the moose. Let me get an insight from... Yeah, Brule and Zell. Oh wait, Gerhard actually has insight. So let me have the insight from Gerhard. As you are following behind Brule, after about another 45 minutes since you've left Eris behind, you're getting a really weird sense that the moose has turned to the north, and this seems to be the same position that the bear was going towards. And the further you all walk and track the moose, the closer you get to that sensation that the bear left that area, perhaps to head off the moose. Maybe the bear is starving and it is actually going after the moose.
So we get to get two beasts.
I don't think we should mess with the bear. He's only doing what a bear wants. If he kill the moose for us, much better. But I don't think we should mess with him.
If the bear can find the moose for us, and we can take the moose down while it's distracted by the bear.
That's why I
Exactly.
think he's a. Let's use the brown bear to our advantage. Let's not get in a fight unless we really need it.
I mean no offense, Brule, Zell, but perhaps the bear is a better tracker than you.
Yeah, right.
We
Of
track
course.
the bear as the bear tracks the moose.
Yeah.
I'm tracking the moose. I have the track right here. Can either follow either one?
Yeah, you
As I
guys
said,
aren't on the bear's tracks right now. You're definitely still on the moose's tracks. It's Gerhard who's getting that sense that you're coming back around to where the bear seems to be like heading off the moose.
Right.
oh,
So they're
okay,
kind of
I
converging,
misunderstood.
right?
That's why it's an insight check. This is a purely mental thing that in his mind he's connecting the dots that maybe that bear broke off and the moose is headed in that direction and that's why the bear broke off.
So we have. Let's continue. We have a track here. It's coming this way. Let's go.
Let's keep an eye out for that bear too.
Of course, if some tracks appear, I'm gonna to warn you all. So
Let me get perceptions from you all.
I am rolling so low.
Did I just miss? Did Sandoval start that one off?
Yeah, it's a 2 for me.
Gotcha. No, I felt like I missed it, but sometimes I just lose track of the actual die rolls. So yeah, as you all move just another 10 or 15 minutes of tracking the moose, you are coming up on kind of a high point where you have a little bit of an overlook down to where the moose track seems to be leading off of this higher point as it's kind of going westward and seems to be moving down off of this area, and you're kind of looking over this bluff back into the trees below. And this is about where you would kind of expect all of those things to converge. And from where you're at, Brule, you can make out an extremely large brown creature up ahead. Can't quite tell if it's the bear or the moose, but you can approach to get a better sense of it. But you are quite close behind it.
Ru raises his hand. Wait, we have company. Stay quiet. I don't know what it is yet. I have to approach to have a better look then. Okay, so I will try to approach very stealthily.
You guys sending him alone? Is everybody going?
I'll stealth up with him.
Gerhard is going to hang back.
Yeah, I think Sandoval he'll let Brule and Zell go forward to start.
So let's get stealth checks from Brule and Zell. As you approach forward, you get closer and closer. And you do see a moose ahead of you. And it's quite a large creature. But this is a brown moose. And you do actually see the bear in the same general area. And it seems close to the moose. But still maybe about 50 feet away from it.
Ru touches Zell's shoulder. He motions his hand to get back.
Can I back up, but like move more so like behind tree cover to keep an eye on the moose and the bear?
What's your goal? What are you looking to do?
See if they interact with each other, like if they get into altercation or if the bear attacks or so. Like basically to watch them without being seen.
Ru's going to retreat very slowly, leave the animals behind, try to find a more secure place to be.
So you're looking for a better vantage point, Brule?
No, I'm going to return slowly to the other two. I don't look behind and don't see. Since I didn't look behind, I didn't see that Zell stay behind.
Alright, so Zell, you see Brule is moving off and leaving this position. You're still looking to stay and watch?
I'll back to the group.
I don't know if Brule picked up on it, and I don't think Zell did. Brule, why did you walk away from it?
Because it's not the moose you are looking for. You are looking
Excellent.
for a white moose. That moose doesn't interest us.
That's what I was getting at. The moment you saw it's a brown moose, that's not the moose you're looking for.
Exactly. Dean was on. take risks because it was not part of our mission. So why stay there? Letting them solve their own problems too. So
Absolutely.
Brew
I just saw an
returns to the
opportunity
group.
to get some bear meat.
I didn't catch that last thing you said, Zell.
I just saw an opportunity to get some meat.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
Sandoval was thinking.
As long as you're interested in hunting a moose, you are more than welcome to go after this moose. But there is some level of, if you guys understand that this is not the white moose, that's the big difference.
Oh no, I understood that.
Brew doesn't want to fight a moose because they are not exactly easy animal to bring down because they are big. And there was a bear not very far. So why engage in that situation?
Oh, that's why I
Fair
was
enough.
watching. Oh, that's why I was watching to let them engage first to see if they actually engaged first, and then you had to take down the more of the two.
It'd be interesting to see if we could drop a moose, but I have a feeling that we won't have any. That if we do, I have a feeling that brown bear will have to take him on for the meat and hide.
There's another thing. I don't think we should waste of resources with this moose when you have a bigger and probably more dangerous uh, prey to kill.
True.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So I guess Brule has been the one who's been tracking the tracks themselves. So Gerhard asks him, so we've been tracking the wrong moose, or is that just possibly a different moose?
As far I can tell, it was that moose that I just saw that were following. So probably the wrong track. Let's look around to see if we find another moose track.
So if y'all start to look again, Zell and Brule can do survivals. An hour into searching for fresh tracks, not having any better luck. Uh, the wind feels like it picks up a little bit and it's getting a little bit colder. It's still vaguely during the middle of the day. It's enough that Sandoval would kind of know it's about 11 or 12. So you can keep looking, but at present you're kind of without tracks to follow.
There's anything around that we some kind of uh, uh, mark like a big rock or some kind of uh, thing that we can use as a reference to walk around.
Yeah, rolling higher dice.
Yeah, the rolls have been like crap.
So Rue looks at us. I have no tracks here. Uh, uh, I think we are need to get back a little on this trail, see if we can find some trackings.
Perhaps if
There seem
we head back towards the loggers' camp and try and pick up some tracks from there.
That's what I thought. I think we should get back to the logs to get our friend, see if there is another tracks over there, since they are being targeted by this white moose.
Gerhard agrees. There's enough time in there's still enough time in the day to uh, hopefully find some tracks.
So you're looking to move back towards Lonelywood and kind of start fresh?
Yeah.
Yes, that sounds the best idea because we don't have no knowledge of the forest to go ahead. We need to follow some kind of track to make some direction because going around without knowing gonna only get us lost.
So you can make survival checks to try to find your way back to Lonelywood.
Seriously?
So after about another hour or so, following what you feel like mostly from the wind that's cutting through the trees and from your general sense, you're able to find your way back into Lonelywood.
Surely, we are trying to return to the log group, loggers. Not get back to Lonelywood. I think that's what we said, right?
Yeah, I think the idea was we would head back to where we met like Aris and his group, and then kind of resume the search for the tracks there in that area.
All right, so 4 hours go by, and you guys are able to find your way back to Aris's camp.
Any tracks
Yeah,
around?
I'm just falling like shit.
You guys can start to look for tracks again.
Yeah.
So roll survivals for me.
Let's
Just so you
go.
know, you just, instead of rolling survivals to look for moose tracks, you rolled survivals to look for your way back to Aris instead of looking for moose tracks.
Instead of like just tracks, can I also look for like any type of like white fur that got caught on branches or like any scratch marks on the trees from like
Those are
the
moose tracks.
oh okay,
You're
so it's
looking
all
for
included.
signs of the moose,
Okay, I got
but
you.
you can
Okay.
have a higher DC to look for the white inside of snow.
Really, we are very bad at this now.
So it's getting close to when you guys could stop to have some rations as a dinner. And it's getting near the point where the aura is going to start to dissipate pretty soon here. What would you all like to do?
Okay, now I see that. Okay. No, no, that's
Your mic is going out pretty quickly again.
no, I was looking at why I had advantage on survival, but that's only to track fae, fiends, and undead. So that's where the advantage was coming from. No, I don't have advantage. I was just wondering where it was coming from.
So we have two options. We start a camp and spend the night in the forest, or we waste off our search, get back to town. What you guys want to do?
I'm fine with setting up camp in the forest instead of starting completely fresh. We've got a decent way on the general area, I guess, where moose usually travel. Plus, you never know if the moose will come during the night.
We put a watch. We all get some time watching.
Yeah, and if we can find a place that's kind of well, I guess we're in the forest, like kind of like with a wind, like a natural windbreak or something that we can set up camp near.
What we need is fire. So first thing first is fire. Let's start a bonfire. So everyone agrees.
Sure. We've done this before, right? We've camped out overnight when we were traveling from the one town to Tourmaline, right? Where this isn't a crazy idea that we haven't survived the night before.
I don't think you have.
No, we haven't.
Tourmaline to Lonelywood was about a 3-hour walk. Targos to Tourmaline was about a 3.5-hour walk. I think the longest you all have spent out in the elements is probably this day here, and certainly not any nights.
So we need fire, a strong fire to stay warm. That's what we need right now. Or we can get back to town, but it's going to be a long trip. It's going to get dark, more cold.
Well, the moose is terrorizing the the town and the lumberjacks who work from the town. So I don't think that we necessarily have to stay out in the woods in order to to find the moose. And we might give another shot at the Chwingas. I was thinking that maybe we could uh, set up. Maybe we could wait at Elva's house to see if they returned.
So you want to go back to Elvis' house?
If we offered to keep watch for her, perhaps she'd let us stay there tonight.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I'm not opposed to that.
Is that what you all would like to do? Start to head back towards town and go to Elvis?
I think we shouldn't return. I think we should stay and try to find this moose. It's nonsense to return to the town since we already started this. I think we are going to waste time, and we need to the next day to walk all back here, try to find Rex again. We should stay.
Is anybody convinced by that? Because right now I've got a 3-on-1.
To go back to Ella's house?
Yeah, I mean, you all have to make a group decision. So,
I mean, it wasn't that long to get to where we are from Lonelywood, right? So it wasn't like a half. How long was the trek from like where we are now to Lonelywood?
I think the first time that you found Eris was probably about, I think that was 2 hours into that trip. So, after searching for an hour since you saw him, you're at most 3 hours away from Lonelywood, kind of thing.
Right. So it's not. Yeah, we're not going to lose all that much time by going back to Elva's for the night, is what I'm thinking, and that gives also, like Gerhard said, it gives us more of a chance to possibly see if the Chwingas return or and keep us out of the elements, hopefully.
If the majority of the group wants to go back, we go back. But I want to say I disagree with the idea. But if most of you want, let's go.
So, do survivals for me from Zell and Brule, please.
Oh my gosh, finally something over that dang on 10.
I think regardless. After a little bit, Zell is able to see that in general you all have moved a little bit more to the south, and it's a pretty quick and simple path to move down south and quickly find the way between Lonelywood and Tourmaline, and you make good time as you head back to Lonelywood. It gets significantly windier. It's definitely a good bit colder, and you see kind of the last bits of the aura as you arrive back in Lonelywood.
guess we head back towards Elva's house and kind of, I guess, once again go to the Sandoval would go towards the front door to knock.
So when you knock on the door, it's pretty quickly that you hear, "Yes, yes. 1 moment, please." And then you see as she opens the door and kind of looks up to you. "Oh, hello again. Come in, come in."
Thank you. My friends and I were hoping we might keep watch for you tonight to see if the Chwingas return or creatures return. Whatever is doing this, stealing your cutlery and opening your door and such, and perhaps we can put a stop to it if you're willing to put us up for the night.
"Oh, I don't really have a place for you to sleep, but you can certainly lay yourselves just here in the room, and that would be nice. They have come back. They've already taken some of my forks and spoons again." She just kind of like looks around this like cluttered den area, and you can see as she's like looking around, she's trying to count to 4, where people might lay their heads down on the ground, and it's full of a bunch of shit. She's a hoarder.
So, Cinderella's is interested that they returned already. He's hoping that they might return again tonight, and he's going to turn towards Brule and see if maybe want to try lighting the lantern one more time before it gets like real super late, just to see if they are anywhere still relatively close by.
Sure, Bruce uses the lantern.
And
Roll a d20.
I don't know, can I just keep it here out for like any sounds of movement?
You can roll a perception check. As you light the lantern is burning red.
They are not here.
Well, perhaps we'll just try and keep watch, I guess. See if anything starts, any of these items start mysteriously moving.
Well, and we know they come in through the back door, right? So what the one of us who's on watch can look at that. Sandraval, since you're the one who can talk to them, I think you have to be here. But maybe Zell, Brule, and I can, one of us stay on watch, and then 2 of us go back to Nimsi's. Because obviously, trying to, they're pretty skittish, but you seem to have a rapport with them.
Yes, I don't mind staying here, trying to see if I can make contact with them again.
And you're gonna not sleep tonight?
Let's return to the town speaker house. We'll get some sleep.
Oh, so Gerhard volunteers to watch the back door for the first shift, and suggest that Sandraval sleep, and that Gerhard will just kick his leg if he sees something happening.
Cinderella will mention that he can also try and cast a spell that might alert him if the creatures return. He doesn't know whether, not knowing enough about the creature, doesn't know whether it will actually work. But it's he can try it, and that way he doesn't have to try and stay up the whole night.
Were you all thinking about taking shifts and then going back to Nimsy's? Was that what you were thinking, Gerhard?
Well, I was thinking that maybe there'd be enough space here because there's not enough space here for all four of us to lie down and sleep. Is my
No,
impression.
the point was that it's going to be uncomfortable.
Oh well, screw discomfort.
Yeah, I was trying to paint a real world instead of just like, oh yeah, I've got space for 95 people in my home. Yeah, come on in. No, she was just trying to be realistic. Like looking around her house, I'm a fucking hoarder. I don't know where you're going to sleep, but yeah.
No, it's better than the woods.
Brew looks around and says, I don't think this is a good idea. I think if you guys want to stay here to get these creatures, I have no problem, but I would prefer to spend the night in a town speaker house where is much more comfort for us. But if you don't mind, I prefer to spend my night in other way, doing other thing.
What are you trying to do, Brew?
Brew doesn't want think it's a good idea to stay there, sleep on the floor, to wait for the small creatures. He prefers to get a good night's sleep because tomorrow he wants to go get the white moose again.
So yeah, you're more than welcome to sleep at Nimsy's. You know that she locks her door towards the end of the evening. I think she said a 10 o'clock curfew. Sandoval would be able to tell you that you still have another couple of hours before that comes about. But otherwise, you are more than welcome to sleep at Nimsy's.
Bruce waves. If you guys have a good night, but I'm gonna sleep in a distant place, not a crowded one.
Fair enough.
So Brew leaves goes to Nims.
Were you thinking about alarm, Sandoval?
Yeah, with the mental alert, sort of putting it on the back door.
As you start to weave the spell and begin the ritual, Elva just kind of looks at you. Oh, Oral's blessing, you use magic? How delightful.
Do I sense anything off in the way she says delightful? She seems
skeptical. She seems worried.
There's nothing to be afraid of. Just I know a little bit that it'll tell me if the things that are bothering you return. I don't want to alarm you.
Is it dangerous? What is it? Does it kill people?
Oh no, nothing like that. Simply a warning. As I said, just an alert that will um, let me know if anyone or if these things attempt to come through your door again. I promise you've nothing to fear.
When they returned today, they did open the back door again. Is that right, or did they not?
She's just staring at Sandoval like open mouth, not responding.
You do want us to stop them if we can, no?
I didn't know it was going to take magic. Maybe not.
So Sandra will kind of let out like a slightly exasperated sigh. If you don't want us to help, we won't help.
Well, we can still stay the night, perhaps, if Elva's willing. Just watch the door, watch for things missing.
Sandra will he'll sigh and is like, fine, and he'll turn to Elva. No magic.
She's like moved off into a corner and she's kind of dropped her head and she's just kind of like bundled up in like a kneeling fetal position. And you just hear a faint like murmur from her at present. Are you focusing on her thoughts, Justin? Sandoval?
Yeah, she kind of moves to the corner. Yeah, I would reach out mentally, not like making contact, just trying to get a sense of what she's thinking.
She's praying to Oral for safety, for protection, for solitude.
Sandoval's gonna his eyebrows will kind of raise, and then he'll glance towards the others. And kind of move, back away from her a little bit, and perhaps we should go. I fear I may have made her uncomfortable.
Gerhard nods.
Perhaps, but it was a good idea.
Bruld, it looks like perhaps we'll be sleeping at Nimsy's after all.
Well, when you leave, do you have any intention of still weaving the alarm around the house outside of her presence? So is that the thought? You guys are going to burn the lantern across the night here and keep watch on the lantern?
That's the plan.
So who's going to do the first watch?
Gerhard will.
Roll a d20 for me, Gerhard. About like 15 minutes into your watch, the light turns green.
Gerhard wakes up Sandraval and points to the lantern.
So Sandoval will he'll come out of his sleep and kind of shake his head a bit, and then catch sight of the lantern, and then that makes him realize why Gerhard woke him up, and he'll nod at Gerhard, and then he'll he'll sort of sit up and again sort of mentally expand his sense to see if they're within the range of his telepathy to try and make contact.
Roll a d100. As you reach your mind out, you sense the 3 members of your party. You sense Nimley, Elva, another couple of humanoids. That's it. There doesn't seem to be any elementals. None of the Chwingas seem near enough.
Okay, so Sandoval will he'll tell Gerhardt they don't seem to be too close. Perhaps we should try and get a look over at Elva's. Perhaps they've returned there. Did we wake the others?
Well, I think this is kind of your deal. Why don't we just go, you and I, and because my thought is just that you're going to talk to them. I don't think we're going to try to attack them, and they spook so easily and disappear.
That's a fair point. Yes, let's perhaps we should just go ourselves. See if I can find them.
So I'm thinking that maybe we walk around the back of Nimsy's Elva's house, kind of this area.
Yeah, given and they've been coming in through the back, I think that it makes sense to go that way.
How are you getting out of Nimsy's house?
Oh,
Oh, right, she locks the doors. Yeah.
is it only 15 minutes past 10, or did this happen, an hour after that?
It's inside of that hour.
What do you think, Sandoval?
There's no windows.
You guys have not really seen windows in any of the houses up here. Everything is protection away from the cold.
And I imagine getting that door open will not be quiet, and she might not take kindly to us trying to get out. We don't want to ruin our ability to stay here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think this through.
Well, I guess I'll put the lantern away then.
So you're not going to risk breaking out of the house. You're just going to return to sleep.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't know. Cinderella's they don't want to get on Nimsy's bad side by trying to, sneak out of her house. And if we wake her up, we'll have some explaining to do.
Gerhard feels the same way.
Yeah, maybe just chalk this up to poor planning and
Yep.
Go back to bed. mean, Sandoval was going to offer to take the second watch, so he might, during his 2 hours on watch, while he's just sitting in the attic, he might try and like periodically every like 15 minutes or so, just kind of send out a little burst of like kind of trying to see if the creatures are within range. At least like maybe once or twice. And if he gets no response, then he'll stop doing it.
All right, you can do 2 more checks while you're on watch.
D100, right?
Yep. Yeah, so when you take like a little bit of time where you're just sitting up alone, you start to reach out and you sense another one of the creatures close by.
So Sandoval will send a sort of telepathically, he'll send a greeting and ask, thank him again for the tea and say that he'd like to speak with the creature if that's okay with it.
When you reach out to it, you hear in response, "We are Chwinga!"
Yes, you are. You are Chwinga. You left before before we could really have a full talk. I had a couple questions I'd like to ask you.
We hide. We safe. Chwinga are trees.
And what were you hiding from?
I don't know how they're going to talk about your friends. I think their response would be, your companions have mean spirits.
And I apologize on their behalf. But I thought we were getting along fairly well.
We are Chwinga.
Yes, yes. Um, might I ask, have you seen a? I'm gonna try and sort of like telepathically think of like an image of a moose, but like the kind of the moose like we saw, but try and in my head make it a little bit bigger and make it white. Not that I actually know how big this thing is, but kind of to ask it like, have you seen anything like this?
Cain. Yes. We know Cain.
We are we are looking for Kane, but we haven't been able to find him yet. Would you be able to tell us or show us where we might be able to find him? This Kane.
Roll a persuasion. We know the forest, but we don't trust your people. They hurt our spirits, and we feel the pain of the trees. Cain protects the trees. Ravison gave Cain voice. You have given us voice.
So Sandoval's going to try to hide his surprise, sort of at hearing the name Ravison. He's not sure if, like, they, by establishing this telepathic link, if that gives these creatures access to his thoughts. So he's trying to sort of like mentally shield his, I guess, emotions as best he can. Not that he's probably very experienced with that, but
You could do a wisdom or a deception check. Still pretty new with the crystal.
yeah. So okay, so Cinderella's going to sort of hearing this. He'll so you said Cain protects you and the trees. Um, are there any trees that in particular that are important to the Chwingas, to Cain?
The whole forest. Every tree.
Like, I don't think the people of this town will be willing to stop cutting down trees. Is there any way that is there something they can give you as payment for taking some of the trees? I've noticed you like silverware and
Each tree has its own spirit. We are Chwinga. We are trees. There's no payment for life.
and are you bound to the trees? Can you move away? Can you travel away from them?
We bound between the trees. Yes.
I ask because I have a friend who would dearly like to meet one of you, but she is not near the forest.
You see as a little shard of light just starts to kind of poke through the wood directly in front of you. And then it seems to be squeezing through like the minutest of a crack before it kind of pops through. And it seems to almost like reinflate its body. And there's a Chwinga like standing in front of you. And it points to the other three. These friends?
My companions, yes. Oh, no, a different friend. I have many friends.
And it like spins over in its head, like as it tilts its head to the side, its head like continues to rotate. And it just kind of like spirals for a moment. Tell us about your friend. But this is effectively a persuasion check.
Well, she's fascinated by you, and there are some who don't believe that you are real, but Clearly you
You
are.
can have advantage.
Okay, do you want me to continue talking or just do the check now?
Oh no, you're welcome to. I always prefer the role play.
Yeah, so I guess you'd say like, and perhaps if more people knew of the Chwingas, perhaps they would be more conscientious of the damage they're doing to your forest and to your spirits.
So its face stops spinning, and it looks back at you, nods its head for a moment. Yes, we can meet your friend. Chwingas won't be in danger.
I will I will be there. We'll make sure nothing bad happens to the Chwingas.
Is only Gerhard and Sandoval up?
I think at this point it's just Sandoval. This would have been on his watch.
All right.
What were you thinking though?
I was just trying to get more so like a location, like where we are now.
Up in the attic of Nimsy's.
Okay.
Do you have any other thoughts or any other questions, Sandoval?
So I guess he'd ask, should I bring my friend to you, or are you able to? Would one of you be able to come with us? It may be a bit of a longer journey, but perhaps if you are willing to meet with my friend, perhaps I can convince my friend to come here to meet you. If that would make you more comfortable. I think that's all I got for now.
I feel like on some level it would ask you something that would possibly be like a weird question, because it would almost ask you, is your friend here? And it's gonna like kind of reach towards the ground, but like through the actual floor. And then as it brings its hand back up, it's gonna have some snow in its hand. Is your friend here? On the ground? In Toril?
Yes.
We can go.
Really? That's fascinating.
We are earth spirits. This is us. And it just kind of reaches its arms out wide and like out and above its head, and then just extends them out to the sides. We are Chwinga.
So perhaps we can we can meet my friend tomorrow. I would like my other friends, and now he'll gesture towards Zell and Brule and Gerhardt, to come with us. But I'll make sure they know that you are friends. And I apologize on their behalf if they scared you earlier.
We will stay close. We will follow you. They may not see us. We'll decide what we think soon.
Fair enough. I know you are Chwingas. Do you go by any other names that I might call you?
Again, it's going to look at you funny. We don't have names. We don't have language. We are trees. We are snow. We are water. We are Toro.
Fascinating. Well then, if you are going to follow us, then when when I next see my friend, I will point her out.
And you're just going to see as it starts to reach down again towards the ground, towards its feet. And you just see like a little bit of like a somatic hand movement as its hand moves. And as it raises its hand, it's almost like it's pulling a veil up from the ground, just like a very like gossamer like silk veil that it's just lifting. And as it lifts this, it's almost like in a triangle through the center that the creature disappears. And then you see as the hand drops it and the whole creature disappears, and then the hand disappears.
And Sandrel's gonna, at this point now, he'll mutter aloud like fascinating, and then he'll spend whatever time of his watch is left. He wants to kind of like write down some notes about this whole encounter, and then he will and then he'll probably go to sleep after that.
You would still sense it nearby on this go, and through different moments as you're writing notes, you see as like in the paper, as the ink kind of starts to write, at different times there's almost like growths as like a little bit of extra ink like drips off of your pen, like a little flower sprouts from the ink, and like that extra ink is like consumed, but there's like tiny little flowers that kind of grow up next to it, and you have a pretty good sense that the creature is here but not visible to you at present.
Okay. Yeah.
So you all can wake up with a long rest the next morning on LCS the second.
So I guess as we're waking up, Xandraval's going to relay his sort of his meeting with the Chwingas, sort of covering kind of the broader points. The white mooses, the creatures apparently know the white moose. His name is Kane, and he is apparently a was given this intelligence by Ravison, as I think a couple people had suspected might be the case, and that the Chwingas kind of view him as a protector, and then also mentioned that he was able to convince the Chwingas that they're willing to meet with the woman from Bremen if they go to visit her.
So as you guys are brought up to speed when Sanjifal awakes and when you all awake, how would you like to go about your day?
Good work. I never thought it would be easy to convince them to do anything. Nice work. So are going to tell them that we are going against, going after his friend Moose.
Wait, who are you telling that you're going after the moose? Brule, who did you want to tell that you were going after the moose?
The Chwingas, Sandoval had told everyone about what happened. So the way he described the Chwingas think the Moose is some kind of uh, good good people, someone that protect them. Your first objective was to track down the Moose. So we're going to tell them that our intention is to stop the Moose doing what he's doing.
It seems to be protecting the forest, so perhaps we can convince the loggers to um, may be difficult.
They need to.
Yeah, I don't think we have any leverage over the loggers.
They need the wood to survive. They sell the wood to all the towns. Gonna tell them that they can't do the thing they need to survive because of the moose. They're gonna say to us, "Kill the moose for us." That's the problem.
Do you think they have any sightings, the loggers of the moose?
I don't think they'd help us find it.
It's Gerhard says, it sounds to me like the Chwingas and the moose are friends and probably share the same goals. So perhaps we could put aside our business tracking the moose and go forward with introducing the Chwingas to the woman.
This wouldn't be something that's extremely odd for any of you all. Druids are the nature version of a cleric, where clerics are a product of, like, the social world and what has come together to become the cultural, like, instance of gods. Druids are the nature versions of clerics. And so this, like, coming to head is a pretty typical thing when you have that conversation between people who settle an area and the things that naturally exist in an area.
There's better ways to protect the forest than kill people. I don't think we should forget about the moose. He's going to keep killing people. I don't think.
Gerhard interrupts Brule. Sandraval, are the Chwinga, and Gerhard taps his forehead.
Sandoval will nod, thinking he knows what Gerhard means.
Who doesn't understand what you telling me? Why you put a hand on your head? Are you okay? Headache? You need something to eat?
I think the Chwingas are probably listening to this conversation with curiosity.
Well, I'm not saying anything that's a lie. If his friend Moose wants to protect the forest, he could, instead of killing people, he could try to speak with them, right? It's not a bad thing to say.
Gerhard nods. That's fair.
Well, we're supposed to capture the moose alive anyway. So if it is like an important figure to the forest, maybe we could, uh, I guess, in a way, convince a peaceful transition.
Yeah, for that we need to find him and talk to him. If he listens to reason, I not don't want to go out and kill him. I want him to stop killing people. If he stops by himself, it's fine for me.
What would be great is if we could find this Ravison.
I agree. She seems to be the cause of these situations getting worse than they are. The monster at Bremen, this moose probably attacking people that he normally wouldn't. So, of course, we should talk to them, talk to her or him, whatever. I don't know.
But perhaps we should head to Bremen first. There is perhaps some other things we could um, take care of while we're there. Um, Given what happened in Targos.
I still think we should find the moose and try to talk to him. If he's at least stop killing people for a while. Because I don't think we going to Bremen and get back here he stop killing. We need to find him now. We know where he is. We just need to track him. Going to Bremen, yeah, I'm gonna speak like uh, money wise means we're gonna gain, I think, 25 gold pieces to help introduce the our little invisible friends to the lady. Here we have a thing that can stop the killings and get 100 gold. So, which is best too?
Okay, so we're agreed that if we search for the moose, for Kane, we're going to try to talk to him or her, and only use violence as a last resort.
That's the that's the whole idea. I think if you can't stop without killing him, or if he listens to reason, we should try.
Gerhard, I could go either way.
Gerhard, perhaps could you speak with Aris and perhaps ask him to see if he can convince the loggers to wait a few days before going into the forest, give us some time to try and track down this moose and see if we can resolve the situation.
I think that's a good idea. We could talk to Nimsy and Eris and tell them that that we know that the moose is acting in protection of the forest, knows that the trees are being, is trying to protect the trees from being cut down, and that we do understand that, uh, that this is a conflict that doesn't have an easy answer, but if they could do anything to, yeah. So basically, yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think we should tell Nimsy and Eris.
Just a question, guys.
Uh,
A question. We're gonna talk to these two people. They're going to believe us that we know the reason. We're gonna explain that there is a invisible creatures that told us about this. They're going to believe us. I have my doubts.
Well, we don't have to tell them how we know. We just need to convince them that we know.
I'm gonna let you try to do that because
enough
I
to
find
reassure that we
hardly to
won't do
convince
anything
them.
harmful.
I don't know how we're going to convince them. How you know? my my I get worried because if we're going to try to speak to the people to stop doing what they need to survive for a few days, they're going to say no. They need the wood to sell, to have money, to buy things. To simply say, please don't go on the forest. How it need to be a good argument to convince them.
Well, a short term loss of, if they can wait a few days before they get in, yes, they lose several days worth of foresting, but their losses in the long term, given that they've been losing woodsmen and coming under attack, will be better if they give us time to resolve the problem.
So
if
okay,
if they give us 5 days to resolve this problem and find the moose, uh, we will either resolve the problem or the moose will have killed us.
I say we go for the most. Either way, good or bad, we either end up taking the most out and giving some type of relief to the town, or we end up finding a peaceful resolution and we can get more information on exactly what is going on.
I agree.
So where are we on trying to convince Nimsy and Eris to pause the wood cutting as a gesture of goodwill?
I don't. I think this could be a bad idea, but I can't stop you guys to try. I
I mean,
only The only thing I think I can think of is going into the woods again, try to find the moose, stop him any way we can. That's the killing. Keep.
We all agree that the killing of innocent loggers is something that needs to end.
Here, yes.
I think we all can agree that probably there is a way to to accommodate both parties. If the moose is uh, can be convincing to stop doing what he's doing. But I don't think we can do the same thing.
Well, they're being attacked because they're taking the forest down. So if 9 times out of 10, just the possible deal is that we can convince them to stop the deforestation. That's the main reason they're being attacked. So this town being lumber town, wouldn't that hurt the town? So
Yes,
they would be up against that.
yeah, yes, that's what I think. I think if we can find a way that they don't cut some part of the forest and use another part or something in the middle, but to speak to people to say, oh, this is your way to survive. You can't do it anymore. Find another place to stay. We can't do that.
Well, for now, we're just asking them to, as a sign of good faith, hold off for a few days and then give us a chance to find the moose and see if we can find some resolution.
Yes,
And
that's
then if
my
we can
feeling
convince the moose on the other, or on the other hand, to stop killing the loggers as a sign of its good faith, and then you know obviously, if we may not be able to come to a peaceful resolution, but I don't see the harm in trying.
Yeah, exactly. If it can be a ceasefire, because one of us is going to have to kind of go up to this moose and try to, assuming, I mean, do we know it can talk? Anyway, but is going to have to communicate with this moose, and whichever one of us that is putting themselves in in mortal danger. So if we could have if we could have had some kind of ceasefire, then I think the chances of the moose coming to some kind of agreement are at least non-zero.
Yes, we are assuming that he can talk. We are assuming a lot of things. But yes, if you can avoid to spill blood to solve the situation, much better. If you guys want to talk to the townspeople about this, go ahead. But I have my doubts they're going to believe you or going to stop doing what they're doing. But of course, can only try.
Are we
So this
agreed then?
Yes, I agree. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Since the idea, you two had the idea, Gerard and Sandoval, you lead the conversation. I'm not much of a conversation.
So I guess we leave the attic or wherever we've been, wherever we are when we've been having this conversation, and go down into Nimsy's house and see if we can find her. If we can, we ask her if we could have a private conversation with her.
She kind of looks around the house and. Will this work?
This would be perfect. We've learned some things about the moose that has been killing the innocent loggers. Sandraval?
So it seems that the moose may be attempting to protect the forest, what it views as its domain. We think we may be able to resolve the situation, but for the protection of the loggers in the meantime, we were thinking it may be best to keep out of the forest for the next several days. I understand that the logging is important here, but if we can resolve the situation and prevent future attacks, it will more than make up for the temporary inconvenience.
So, at the very first mention of moose, she's immediately going to cross her arms and already start to close down. As she seems to be almost listening to you, she just kind of. We can't not go in the forest. That's our livelihood. Everything about Lonelywood is our survival off of the trees. And then when you say a number of days, she's kind of like scoffs even further and just that's absurd. We How will this help you if we don't?
The attacks may continue, and it may make it harder for us to find this creature.
I understand this may be difficult for you to accept, but this moose seems to be somewhat more um, intelligent than the rest of its kind. There may be some arcane influences involved in that, but in any event, we think that perhaps if the um, we may have a better chance of um, taking care of the moose problem if uh, the loggers were to take a couple days off.
You can make a persuasion check. The moose. It's. We're not even sure that there is a moose that's the problem. Many of these people could just be going missing. People go missing.
And don't you want to look for ways to prevent that more?
Not live in 10 towns? Get rid of Horo's fucking rhyme? So we can finally leave and go back to warmth? Anywhere other than here?
If you think that the normal people dying, why you put a reward to kill the moose? We heard about the reward. So either there is a moose killing people or there isn't. Why there is a reward? We are trying to help you, not trying to create a problem for
I I I offered that to keep them working.
so you don't believe them. Gonna pretend you're gonna pay them so they keep working, even if there is risk for their lives. That's not very cool idea.
Everything in Icewind Dale is a risk to our lives. They can't not leave their homes. That is a risk to their lives. Living it is everything is it's everything is a risk to our lives. It's we're
There are things that are more riskier than others. To live in this place, yes, it's hard, but to have a thing actively trying to kill your people is a different thing.
We're not saying we can remove any risk, just reduce it. Is that not worth trying?
Even 2 days would give us time enough, we hope, to find the moose.
you act like this moose is going to care. We've logged this for generations. We don't have a choice. There's so little source of wood in the north. We need this forest.
We know the odds are long of coming to a peaceful resolution. What we are saying is that if you give us just a few days, we we pledge you this. We will either resolve the situation or you will never hear from us again because we won't be coming back. We'll resolve the situation or we'll die trying.
cost of what you're asking is going to be. It's going to be so much.
Since we are going to talk about the risks, I think you should consider that a couple days that probably will save more people than letting go into the forest. I know that's difficult to convince everyone, but we think and we are trained and we know how to solve this. We need time to try to solve it.
Why would it look any different to them if for any amount of days we stop working? What is it to them? They're not going to treat us different. A moose isn't going to stop killing if it has the taste for blood. It's a hunter. It's been hunting us.
Not that simple. We think that it is other things in motion, like magic. We think we can find the way to stop it. Maybe even try to find the origin of everything that's happening. But we need time. You need to try to help us with time so you can save more people.
But why would anything change? It's still going to be hunting today. It's still going to be hunting the next day. Why would any days change anything?
Because we are going to enter the forest, go after him.
Then enter the forest. Go after it. Kill it for us. Take the reward that I offered the hunters. But why will us not working change anything? It's a beast. Kill it.
Ru looks at the others like saying, "I told you guys," and he shrugs. If you want to keep things the way they are, fine. But I'm gonna let my friends try to explain to you.
Gerhard shakes his head in frustration but says nothing.
If she wants to risk them, then that's their choice. Doesn't stop us from what we have to do, which is on this moose.
Well, I still think taking a couple days from the forest would be a good idea for your people, but obviously we cannot force you. We will be heading into the forest regardless.
Gerhard stands, thanks her for her time.
Bruce never Bruce stand by the door, watching his friends.
Right. Sandoval also thanks Nimsy for her time, and he moves back towards the others and just kind of quietly says, like, we've done all we can. Was worth a shot.
Yes.
Gerhard nods.
Brewer shakes his head. I told you guys, people only think on themselves. He whispers to them.
You did tell us so, Brule. You were right.
I so want to pull them out of the woods just to not hear Brule say I told you so.
I know. I'm sorry, I was right. But it's a bit of a reason. They had no reason to stop.
Well, Sandoval thinks he can convince anybody of anything, so obviously he can't. He thinks he can.
Brew is a cynic, so he doesn't think people are going to listen to reason.
You were close with the persuasion.
I have a odd idea. maybe might be uh, foolhardy, but probably could work. Since they're already being attacked or whatever, is it possible that maybe we could be a temporary driving force out of to push them off of their grounds to kind of clear the way for us, kind of to scare them out the way as opposed to having them be attacked and killed? Get this
Uh,
beast out the
I
way.
don't think we should burn this bridge yet. We didn't get there.
No, not attack them, scare them.
But if we, I mean, if we, yeah, if
It's
we
the
come
same
across
thing.
some loggers
It's the
in
same
the
thing.
woods,
If
try to
we try
convince
to
them to
scare
leave.
them, I think it's the same thing. If we try to scare them or attack them, the result will be the same.
I'm with Brule on this one. I say let's find the moose. Let us try to contact it, even though I think the odds are long. But I vote. Let's just try to find the moose.
I I agree with Gerard. We have no control over these people. We can control what they want to do with their lives. We, what we can control is what we're going to do. That's why you need to concentrate in this.
Yeah, agreed.
So,
Uh, I agree. I'm not trying to burn any bridges, and definitely I'm not up for fighting the loggers if they do decide to retaliate back. So yeah, I'm with you.
so let's go
Back into the woods.
into
Heading
the
back off to
woods.
track down moose.
Yes, into the woods, like the song.
Let's get some survival checks from Zell and Brule. So you are able to pick up some moose tracks. Roll a d6 for me.
Who? Both or
Zell.
Zell? Okay.
As you all head off out to the east of Lonelywood, the weather is picking up. There seems to be a gale coming over Kelvin's cairn, and while the trees offer some cover, there is pretty horrendous snow coverage over top of the trees, and there's very few instances where you're even seeing the light of the aura above you. It is otherwise pretty dark. You can see probably about 30 or so feet this evening, or this day. And moving is slow. You have moose tracks ahead of you, and you're able to try to keep sight of them pretty solid. Moving forward, about an hour goes by tracking the moose, and you don't come any closer to where you think you've come upon it.
Gerhard asks Sandoval, does the same gesture he did before, where he taps his temple with a questioning look in his eye.
So Sandoval's going to sort of mentally reach out. He thinks that there's probably one staying close, but he's not entirely sure. So he's going to kind of reach out mentally to try and sense if there's one.
You can roll a d100. As you feel out, nope, they are not close by.
Okay, so Sandoval will he'll shake his head. Not right now.
Okay.
So as you all progress further and deeper down these moose tracks, still don't seem to be getting any closer. The weather itself stays strong. It's a little bit colder than it's been in the past, but in the long run, this is kind of on the verge of a blizzard where you're kind of sitting here. But overall, everything's going well enough, trying to track the moose. Hopefully you're getting closer and closer to it. And next hour moves forward. You feel like you're getting closer to the moose. Some of the tracks seem less beat by the wind, as if you are moving closer to it and actually making up the ground on it. It's hard to tell over the wind, but you feel a horrific sensation kind of overtaking your body. As you start to wonder if that's a woman crying? Is that the wind? What is going on? What would y'all like to do? Keep moving forward, keep tracking the moose?
Cinderella. Sorry, go ahead, Gerhard.
Nope, you go ahead.
I was going to say, Cinderella, is this something that they all sense? Sorry, before I proceed.
Yeah, it's like the sound of the wind sounds like a woman crying.
Okay. So Sandoval will kind of hold up a hand for a moment. Hold a moment, and then he's going to. He'll try and reach out again and see if he can sense if there is actually like a woman crying nearby, within the range of his ability.
I'd say that we should go forward.
Roll a D100 for me, Sandoval. As you reach out, sensing into the wind, there's something nearby. It might be a woman, but this is a feeling that you've not had in some time. Or rather, this is not a feeling you've ever had. This feels terrible, painful. Roll a wisdom saving throw, please. As you feel forward into this creature, you feel as your mind starts to split, and the pain is just horrendous. This is not something that you want to encounter, and you're close. It senses you, and it can tell where you are.
Okay, so Sandoval, he's gonna kind of like as this sort of like pain is kind of like he's gonna like stumble backwards, put his hand up to his temple, like as if he's just like gotten a really splitting headache all of a sudden, and then he's gonna look to the others and said, "We need to move. It's something not good."
Roll a Arcana check. Your best sense is that this is something that you need to flee with everything you have. And you can feel in the same moment as this is picking up, this creature is sensing you, and she is a vindictive, malicious creature that will do terrible and horrible things to you all. And a blizzard is picking up right now.
Sandoval's he's gonna be like, we need to run. And he's going to essentially,
Why?
as he says that, just trust me, and he's gonna start essentially running back the way they had come.
I'm following.
Gerhard follows along.
Bro shakes his head. He starts following them without understanding what's happening. He tries to catch up to Sandoval.
Centrifall, are you following the same track that you all have come out here?
That's what he's trying to do, yeah, hitting back the way they had come. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like not being able to see in a blizzard and keen mind are definitely two different things.
Yeah, I mean, he knows kind of the general direction they came from, but he,
So I'm going to say for you to lead everybody back at this point, you can take an intelligence check, and it can just be straight. So, in the first good bit of fleeing at this point, you do feel like you've gotten further away from the creature, where it's no longer invading your thoughts, but you do still have a sense that it was almost waiting for you. So you're not safe from that creature. Do another intelligence for me. Getting further and further away, a sense of calm is approaching you, but you are still full tilt running for quite some time at this point. Everybody's still following Sandraval?
Jim,
Yep.
it's possible for Drew to catch up to him?
He's running just as fast as anybody can run, and he took off first, so I would say no.
Okay.
You can try to yell to him, but you guys are inside of a blizzard.
Yeah, that's why I asked if I could catch up, because yelling in a blizzard doesn't work.
What are you trying to do, though?
I'm trying to calm down. He seemed terrified. Start running without explaining why. I think he should calm down and try to explain to him what's happening.
Are you going to yell to him and try?
I'm gonna try.
Roll a performance. Your voice is not carrying on the wind.
I thought so.
So you still hear the screams and the wails of this woman on the wind, Sandraval. Running, continues still running?
I would probably look back to make sure that the others are following, but I'm still pretty much, since I can, still being able to hear the wails and not, I kind of really got thrown by that sort of what I sent. So I'm still kind of running pell mell back the way we came.
If Gerhard sees Sandraval look back, Gerhard will motion like slow down with his hand, up and down, and make and like push his hands together to try to indicate regrouping. I mean, especially if there's any chance of us losing if we're so spread out that there's a chance of us losing sight of each other.
So let me get survivals from everybody but Sandoval.
Survival?
Yes, please.
And we're back.
So as you look back, Sandoval, as Gerhard's trying to motion to regroup, you only see two other people. Right now, it only seems to be Brule and Gerhard are with you.
And so seeing only the two of them and seeing Gerhard's motion, assuming he can see that through the blizzard, that will probably bring him to a stop, and he'll kind of like he'll rush back over towards them and be like and start like where's Zell, like really frantically.
Bru, you hold him by the shoulders. What's going on? Why you start running? Start play. Make some sense because we are following the tracks. Suddenly you turn, you start running without explaining. Come on, you're okay.
Brule, make a persuasion. Zell, let me get a survival.
Uh-huh. I'm rolling like shit today.
I had two criticals that follow each other. It's gonna rain.
Sandoval, roll a history for me.
I'm rolling very middling today. Middlingly, is that a word? I don't know.
I feel like middling is pretty close to what you're looking for. So place yourselves on this map. All except for Zell at present. Gerhard, while they are discussing what Sandoval is running from, what do you do?
I bellow at the top of my lungs, Zell, and I take a few steps back I don't know if he was in front of me or behind me, but I take a few steps, 10 feet, no more than 10 feet, or unless the visibility is even worse than that, in the direction I last saw him. But I'm bellowing at the top of my lungs.
Roll a performance. And Sandoval, what are you telling Brule as he's questioning?
So he's gonna kind of like as Brule's kind of got his hand on his shoulder, he's going to still kind of looking around frantically, but he'll kind of like take a breath. I sensed something evil, that those whales, whatever's making them, it's the most malevolent thing I've ever sensed, and it's dangerous. We need to get away from it.
So it's kind of a thing to go after malevolent things and kill it. It makes no sense we go run away from it. We need to find out
This
what it is. Get your head together. Get yourself together. You need your help. We are not going to go back again. We need to stop the killing.
Gerhard, investigation. Zell, survival.
All right.
Finally,
He's still not found yet. He's still not with you guys. Don't pretend that it's that simple. It's a blizzard.
Like, what is the visibility? Is it 10 feet? Is it 30 feet?
You've got about 20 feet. Like right now, you have them are heavily obscured to be able to see the other two people.
Okay, I continuously, in between my bellows, I'm continuously looking back to make sure that I haven't lost them.
DM, can I try to use a torch to help Zell to find it? Or the torch is gonna light in the wind?
I mean, you could try to light a torch, but these winds are like 45 miles an hour plus. You know pretty well you're probably not going to get a torch lit here.
Okay.
Mara, so at this point is the sort of that, am I kind of still away from that sense? Because I'm thinking that
It's back in your head. It's getting closer to you all.
okay, because I'm trying to decide how the sort of the crystal's properties would kind of interact here, whether I think Brule would be able to sort of convince me, given, some of the other stuff. Like if that would overcome my sort of abject terror. I don't really know how to play that.
Yeah,
Like out of character, I mean.
I threw a critical that I didn't even thought Brew could convince anyone or anything.
You can't crit on a persuasion though. It's still a check, so it's just a 21. You just
Okay.
rolled as high as you possibly can. It's not he is automatically convinced of anything. That is an important thing. Criticals only happen on attacks, and that's purely part of bounded accuracy for hits and misses.
Right.
Otherwise, some people play a critical fail on like stealth checks, like a 1 is like stubbing your toe kind of thing, but in the long run, there's not a critical persuasion.
Okay. I'm so happy I got a critical. That's all.
I don't disagree that it's good to roll 20s. Let me get one more survival from Zell and another investigation from Brule, or not Brule, Gerhard.
Oh, Zell.
Yeah.
Another survival, please.
Oh, nice. You can't complain anymore.
Oh no. Okay. Am I there or?
Let's put Zell just inside of Gerhard's vision. And you all are about to meet the creature that you should have full tilt ran from.
So, what do we do? We sense the creature coming, or what?
Hold up. What you do is roll a Constitution saving throw as you hear a horrific screech through the air. And this wail pierces through your ears. Sandoval, you would damn near collapse to the ground. And you may in fact collapse to the ground. But all of you, the wind doesn't even exist while you hear this screech and wail across the air. This thing is rending the very fabric of your existence.
Oh, I know what it is.
Cool. So do I.
Gerhard, Constitution saving throw, please.
Gerhard is going to use his inspiration on this, so I'm not sure how that works, but
You're gonna get the highest. You don't need it.
okay.
Brule, you are unconscious at 0 hit points.
Wow, nice.
And everybody else is taking 17 psychic damage.
And I'm down.
Yep, me too.
Is Gerhard still standing?
Oh, I didn't make my saving throw?
Oh no, you did. Making the saving throw means that you take the psychic damage. Failing it means you go unconscious.
I'm down.